It started simply enough. Just a little avoidance of the truth. He stole a piece of cake. And allowed one of the children to be blamed. But as the innocent was being punished for his misdeed, he felt a frisson of fear. He entered the room and bribed the child to silence with a gleaming gold coin. Thus his guilt was assuaged. But now the seeds of corruption were sown. The master returns home and greets his wife, who has been decorating the Christmas tree. He embraces her and kisses her passionately. He becomes aroused, but she takes her leave in order to serve the needs of the busy household. Unrequited in his passion, his gaze turns to Daisy, the young parlour maid who stands awaiting his requests. She won't talk, and he will not have to pay her. No one will know. Midnight in the London townhouse. Coming downstairs, the master hears the sounds of the children furtively opening the presents that lie underneath the tree. He watches them and then makes his move. They are surprised and fearful, but he gently scolds them, that's all, telling them that they should know that they must not open their presents until Christmas Day. But then his mood turns black. He proceeds to savagely beat each child with his riding crop, snarling, "Maybe you'll remember next year." Now, clean up this mess and say goodnight. A kind friend has sent the master 2 bottles of rare and expensive wine as a Christmas gift. Unable to resist temptation, he opens the first and pours a modest amount into a glass. He drinks. It goes down well. It's delicious. Throwing caution to the winds, he takes his place in his favourite armchair and takes another glass. And then another. Oh, this is so good. A bigger glass is needed as he opens bottle number 2. Before he can stop himself, he has drained both bottles. The demon of drink takes possession of his body, holds him to the carpet, fills his guts with bile, and makes him regurgitate violently everything that he has foolishly drunk. That one moment of temptation and loss of control has led him to embrace the perils of the surging floor. The master descends from above to give his loyal staff their Christmas bonus. "Ah, thank you, kind sir," they murmur. In return, they offer him a small token of their gratitude for being in his employ. He feigns modest acceptance and gratitude. They are pleased. Now he gestures for them to return to their work duties. "Off you go. Yes, yeah, jolly good." Once they've gone, he holds up the absolutely cheap and well-meant bauble they have presented to him. "Oh, that's pretty." But in an instant, his face changes to a dark and angry sneer, and with one foul gesture, he crushes their gift to pieces in his hand. "Trash!" He spits. The master looks on with detached boredom as an overweight and very dull relative fawns over the youngest of his children. The corpulent one gives the child a gold sovereign as a Christmas gift. As the guest leaves with smug face, the master waves him farewell. Looming now over the excited child who shows him his precious gift, he smiles benignly with a degree of parental pride. Suddenly, his outstretched hand becomes a threat of punishment, and with a hoarse voice, he impatiently demands that the coin be given back to him. Imperceptibly, his soul begins to blacken further as virtue becomes slowly more corrupted. It's late in the evening. The master comes down from his chambers high above to visit the servants' quarters. But hearing the sounds of furtive passion, he peeks around the door and sees Emily, the voluptuous, teenaged parlour maid, locked in embrace with Simeon, the swarthy chauffeur. In his own home, this is most unsatisfactory. There will be consequences for the foolish couple. Yes. Left alone with Emily after dismissing the hapless and now jobless young man, the master proffers her a coin, having admonished her for her misdeeds. He leers as she accepts his bribery and kneels at his feet as he unbuttons his breeches and releases his authority. She can breathe only now through her nose temporarily. He tilts his head back and sighs. Oh, God bless us, everyone. It's party time in the grand townhouse in the wake of Christmas. A game of blind man's bluff is being played, and the master is it. Amongst the guests is the very attractive and sensual widow, Lady Carfax. The drunken and blindfolded master grabs her in a feverish embrace and proceeds to smother her in kisses most moist and lustful. The other guests look on in shock. Some titter with nervous laughter. Straightening up, the master gleefully removes his blindfold. But instead of seeing the female object of his desire, he is confronted by a smiling male guest with outstretched hand. His anger and embarrassment are beyond description. Another piece of his good self is chipped away, and there will be repercussions. It's still Christmas, somewhere within the bounds of the grand house on the hill in Highgate, in London town. The master wearily climbs the staircase to his lofty private sanctum. Post-Christmas days usually send the master to the bad places. But on level 2, he is suddenly met by the head butler, Smythe. Small things become greater. "Oh, well, no one rid me of this troublesome itch!" he cries to himself as his pupils darken. Now, all it takes is just one surreptitious push. Oh, Lord, and he just slipped.
my thaws are now. Household staff wail, the master laughs. Household staff wail, the master laughs. This is just the beginning. Times will change, 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 times will
Tis the season to be jolly. 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 Tis the season to be jolly.
The master has received a present. It's in a large package, lovingly wrapped in brightly coloured paper. He is intrigued. He shakes it to try and determine what could possibly be inside. But the act of picking it up and the vivid scarlet of the ribbon triggers something black within him. The Advent has stirred into life once more, severing forever with no trace of remorse or guilt the thin silver thread that joined his good soul to his body. Ripping the package into ever-decreasing fragments, he snarls, "Jolly! Jolly! Ooh, I'll show you who is jolly!" His red-eyed gaze surveys the room full of now terrified children and their fearful parents, and alights upon the cowering figure of a young female maidservant. Now at last he is free to tear asunder with demonic violence the very fabric of her being, and he does, over and over again, until her screams cease, and the only sound is the slow drip of blood and the harsh rasp of his breath.
Jolly. 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 Jolly.
The table is laid, the candles are lit, and the visitors are seated. Tonight only the most delicate of china and the finest silverware will be used.
Wines both heady and strong will be poured and drunk.
And on this most special of occasions, the master himself will carve the meat for the feast. On both sides of the table, tongues moisten lips in anticipation. A final sharpening of the wicked carving knife, and he is ready. With an elegant flourish and a smile upon his face, he raises the lid of the salver to reveal the true nature of this evening's banquet. The young maidservant's corpse has been cooked to tender perfection and presented with exquisite attention to detail. As the guests wail, scream, and hurl their vomit, the master laughs and laughs. Oh, what a marvelous presentation!
More flesh! More flesh!
Let us spray.
Let us spray. Let us spray.
In the mirror, his face was changing. The smell of pine needles, blood, chocolate, and seared flesh filled his nostrils in a moment of transition.
Admitted.
Oh, this was it. The craved for instant when his very body was diced, sliced, ripped, torn, flayed, and reborn. I am evil. Stretched out into a spasmodic infinity of delicious darkness.
And a Christmas to be remembered forever and ever.
Oh, but the delight was so much more than he had envisioned and longed for.